Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I'm the Gamer's Digester and it's summertime. A lot of people are going on trips, people are going out to see family, go out to beautiful locations, and I think that I've created here hopefully a good enough video for you to help make up your mind if you're looking to purchase one of these devices or you have them already and you don't know which one you want to bring with you. I recently just returned from a week-long trip to Oregon and I brought myself the Asus ROG Ally, kind of just to test some different games, see just to get a little bit better feel for the device. After returning from the trip, I had made a lot of notes on different things and points that I'd like to point out to you guys so that you can hopefully make that decision. So for me, the actual car ride itself, of course, I wanted to play this because for right now, it has some of the best performance for this package. Very small, very lightweight. Right now I have a case on it. Sorry, not a case, a stand that was sent out to me. I believe it's an Etsy shop, which I'll have linked down below, but I've got to play with this for a few days, and so far, it's been really cool. You can detach this back part, but that's what that is in the video, just if anybody's asking. So, yeah, this was absolutely fantastic. I played through The Last of Us, got probably 15 hours into that game, played a lot of Guilty Gear and Street Fighter 6. Now, one of the things that I was wishing I had when we actually got to our location was there were some pretty big TVs, there's a lot of people there, and I really just wanted to dock this thing. Now, I had purchased a Asus ROG Ally, the dock that actually goes with this, and the plug, the actual cable that was with it was faulty, and the dock itself. I had since returned it, and now I had another one that had a faulty cable, but the dock worked this time. The quality control is kind of all over the place, I guess, there. I had a lot of people saying that maybe I was just making things up, but no, I don't have any reason to. This is a very unbiased channel. I plan to give you guys as much information regarding these devices in a very honest form. But yeah, there was a lot of times when I wanted to kind of put the device on the TV so that maybe we could play Smash Bros or whatever, some other game, and that is where the Nintendo Switch would have came in handy big time. There was a lot of instances where I was kind of just sitting on the couch or sitting wherever playing my device and people kind of looking over my shoulder, wanting to have their turn, whatever, and I think that is where the Nintendo Switch absolutely kills it. So if you're going to a location that has like access to a TV, and you're there with friends, family, you know, whatever, and you might not be doing something all the time. I know everybody's circumstance will be different, but for me, we would go out, do our trip for the day, come back to the home base, you know, and kind of just wind down for the rest of the day. And I think if I would have brought the Switch with me, I think that would have been very fun. Lots of party games. Super Mario U Deluxe is a very good game that I think would have been fun to bring with me. Unfortunately, I only brought the Ally and I didn't think of that at the time. Now, one other thing was where we were staying didn't have access to outlets readily available. This is one of those instances where having a power bank with you is fantastic. I had the Anker, I believe it's the 737 or the 747, and it was fantastic. I'd get about an extra hour and a half battery life. I was playing a lot of Cyberpunk as well, playing through that, trying to get ready for Phantom Liberty, sorry. And that was just really great to have with me. And then as soon as that died, I could go throw that on the charger, play through this battery life. By the time this died, the other one was probably pretty charged enough. So it was kind of just this perpetual back and forth between the two. But it honestly worked that really well. I wasn't annoyed with that at all. But there were a lot of instances where I kind of was wishing maybe I had brought the Steam Deck with me because it can play The Last of Us, Guilty Gear, and I did pick up Lost Planet, kind of just a nostalgia trip there. But yeah, it can play a lot of these games. I didn't have really good internet, so I wasn't really playing Call of Duty. I wasn't playing Destiny or anything like multiplayer. So if you're going somewhere that's a little bit more remote, that might not have access to a lot of outlets, the battery on the Steam Deck, in my opinion, right, I've kind of played with these enough now to gauge it a little bit. I'd say you're probably getting about 30 to 40% more battery life out of the Steam Deck, and it really just comes down to the games that you're playing. Of course, if you're going to be playing something that's a lot less graphically intensive, that doesn't require as much, like something like Stardew on one of these devices, That's, yes, you're going to be using your battery, but it won't be as taxing as something like Cyberpunk or something that's a new AAA game. A lot of you guys feel like that goes without saying, but you wouldn't believe the comments I get. There's a lot of people here who are trying to get into handheld gaming who maybe grew up playing different devices when they were younger, that really, really cheaper. It's not like, not cheaper, but compared to today's standards, like kind of lower end handhelds, and they're just trying to get back into this kind of nostalgic thing, play some old retro games. So I just want to let that be known. If somebody says that the Asus has about an hour and a half battery life, that definitely is true for AAA games. For modern games that are coming out for the Series X, for the PS5, that are made to push those systems really hard, if you're going to play them on a device like this or the Steam Deck, your battery life is going to be diminished significantly, which is why I said a portable power bank is very nice to have. Something that you don't have to worry about with the Steam Deck, you can definitely change the TDP and kind of mess with the stuff there. Oh, it's kind of froze there. But you can kind of mess with, turn that down a bit, but most of the time, right, we kind of just leave it at 15 watts. Which I feel like is a fantastic place to leave that at. There's some people who turn it down to get even more battery life. I don't feel like that's absolutely necessary because the device was made to run really efficiently at 15 watts. So this, in fact, though, runs at 25 when it's not plugged in and can run up to 30. Now, what that really means is this will suck a lot more battery than this. Just regardless of what you're playing. If you're playing Cyberpunk on here and Cyberpunk on here, you've got this at 30 watts, or sorry, 25 watts, not plugged in, max settings, same with the, or max-ish medium settings, right? Like, you still want to have a playable experience. You're going to be getting a lot more battery life out of the Steam Deck, just by default. It just doesn't draw as much power, and they have the same batteries. Now, as far as the Switch goes, if you are just going to be playing a game, like a lower, like not super taxing game that is on all these platforms here, like my fiance played Stardew Valley for probably 20 hours. We were there for a week. She was glued to it. That would be an instance where absolutely this Switch is superior. There was almost never a time. She always had this device out with her on the go, playing it in the car when we're driving to different beaches and stuff. It's nice to have this because meanwhile, I'm sitting in the back. I have to hog the outlet because I want to get the best performance out of this device. I don't want it to be constantly dying. And she didn't need that. She was able to just play the game willy-nilly, like whenever she wanted, wherever. It wasn't like she was super concerned all the time about if it was plugged in, which I think is a really incredible thing with the Switch. As much as people want to try and push this under the rug as we move forward performance-wise, there's just something so magical about the Switch that draws me to it. Of course, I've got the OLED one here, which I feel like is the superior Switch. It's not necessary to have that. All the hardware on the inside is still the same, but there's just something so crazy about how old this is and how well it can perform in some of these newer games that they're making for them, that I always feel like this is going to be a valid contender. It doesn't necessarily matter what's on the table, laptops, whatever. If you're going somewhere and you're going to have friends with you, this will always be a suggestion that I have for you to take into account, because there's almost something on here for everybody. I mean, of course, this goes without saying, I'm not sponsored by Nintendo. I'm not sponsored by anything on the table here. I just think that the Switch is a fantastic device. And it kind of gets a lot of shade recently because of the performance. But yeah, guys, this really comes down to what you want to play. If you want to play something that's more taxing, definitely go with the ROG Ally. You're going to get a lot more performance. One thing I found, and you've probably heard this before, right? So this panel here is a 1080p 120 hertz panel. If you turn this down in game setting to around 720p and turn whatever upscaling the game has in it, for example, The Last of Us Part 1, which I played through a lot, has AMD 2.0. If you turn that on to quality or performance, whatever, and turn the resolution down to 720p, you are getting way more frame rate and better battery life with almost no visual fidelity loss. That is one of the great things that I have enjoyed so far with the Ally, is not only is the 1080p panel nice for certain games like Guilty Gear or a fighting game that doesn't necessarily require as much, it doesn't hog as much performance. You can really have like some great image quality there by having the 1080p panel, but you have the option to be flexible to change it down to 720, and they're the same size, like the screen is the same size, so it's not like it looks bad if you play this at 720. I play a lot of Cyberpunk at 720p, with upscaling and whatnot, because it just looks better. Like it looks better in the sense that it's not choppy when you're turning because you're having such low frame rates. So I definitely feel like that is something that you guys should keep in mind if you're kind of on the fence between purchasing these two, and you're not really interested in the whole multiplayer, the whole kind of couch co-op features that the Switch has over all of these. Yeah, I feel like these two are fantastic options. You can't really go wrong with either one, but if you really are set on them, hopefully this was a good enough guide to give you an idea. Most of it is battery, right? Like if you're going on a longer trip, if you're there with multiple people and there's not that many outlets, you really are just going to have to kind of juggle things like how I was, and that's not necessarily the funnest thing in the world. If you don't have good internet connection, if you do have good internet connection, I should say, I would definitely say the Ally wins because you have a lot more access to multiplayer games that the Steam Deck can't play due to anti-cheat. The Steam Deck, being Linux based, doesn't support a lot of anti-cheat games such as Destiny, Battlefield, Modern Warfare, mostly, like the big shooters that you're familiar with, Fortnite. A lot of those games may not seem appealing to a lot of my audience. I know you guys are a bit older, but they're definitely there for some people, and I'm not going to discredit that. But I hope that this list has been kind of good enough. I could make this 20 minutes. I could make this 30 minutes. I could just blab and talk on forever and ever. I like to talk, but I'll kind of ramp things down here and finish out. In conclusion, for me, I really wish I would have brought the Switch as well. I know that's not necessarily like an option for a lot of people if you can only bring one with you. I feel like for me, I really enjoyed the Ally. There were some struggles here and there with the battery, but you know what? Overall, I'd say it was about an 8 out of 10 experience. I wish I would have brought the Switch too. The dock that the Switch comes with, all of that, it's really portable. It's really lightweight. It can get a little chunky sometimes with how big the dock is, but if you can make the room for it, it's very nice to bring along. By default, you have two controllers. If you've got more Joy-Cons, if anyone else brings their Switch too, boom, two more controllers you have there with the Joy-Cons. I really wish I would have brought this with me. I think it would have been a lot of fun to play with people, but yeah, there's always next time. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed today's video, if you enjoyed the presentation here of the video, the style, how I talk, the works, I'd appreciate it if you guys let me know in the comments if there's something you want to see me change, if you feel like I missed out on something here. I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments. If you enjoy this kind of handheld discussion talk, feel free to subscribe. I do these pretty much daily, and I really enjoy what I do here. But have a very good day and have a fantastic rest of your guys' weekend. Bye-bye.